I rise to speak on a few things. Firstly is rent controls. I know why rent controls are popular, because they sound good. Somebody will say, I will control your rent. But let's be very, very clear. They have never, ever worked anywhere in the world. I really wish they did work, but they absolutely don't. Many academics will tell you they're the best way to destroy your city. And if anybody thinks I'm wrong, ask our RPs in London how they've struggled with their own sort of internal version of rent control, and nobody can accuse them of not having a complete desire to provide people with affordable living. That's why they exist. They're very good at it, and even they couldn't handle it. Let's be clear, what rent controls do, they suit people who are already in that provision, who already have somewhere to live. So what about all the children and the families who are stuck in temporary accommodation? What happens to them? I tell you what happens to them. They're stuck there forever, because rent controls means less supply. That's always the outcome of rent controls, less supply. Also, it means there's much less maintenance. So over time, not only does the amount of housing disappear, but the quality of the housing disappears. It goes down and down and down. You lose investment to build new places. And the one thing we can all agree on, that all tenures in London, we need more of it. So why you would beg for something that's going to destroy that as a possibility is ridiculous. And if anybody doubts me again, I'll give you another example. Look what happened in Scotland. Look what happened in Sweden. Look what happens in parts of New York. Rent controls destroys your rental scene. I believe it's irresponsible to keep talking about rent controls and acting as if they're going to deliver something good for Londoners. They absolutely are not. I quickly come to Gallows Corner. As someone who lives near Gallows Corner, I can tell you now it's had a devastating effect on local businesses far and wide, from the car salesman, both big and small, to local shops, to our little shopping area. But one of the things that's been missed, the amount of displaced traffic is destroying the local roads. If you go to Lower Bedford Road, it is an absolute mess. And I wonder, is anybody going to repair that road? Because it's had probably 60 to 70 times the amount of traffic it normally has, because, of course, it's now having to deal with the traffic from the A12. And today, when our Labour colleagues speak about all of these budget amendments, you will hear the words austerity. Well, I just want to remind you about austerity. Your own Chancellor, Alistair Darling, had a far heavier austerity programme than the Conservatives ever had to deliver to save the country from the ridiculous state you left the public finances in. And also, you'll hear the words tough decision. Well, isn't it funny that when they make a cut, of which there's been plenty, you hear the words tough decision. When anybody else makes a cut, it's a political choice. Well, let me make this quite clear to you. The lack of police officers on our roads is a decision made by this Labour mayor and this Labour government. So when they tell you about extra police officers, the word redeployment should be in that sentence, or they are misleading you. I commend you to our budget amendment, because it is the best way of supporting Londoners to have a safe and fair city. And again, I want to say one more thing about rent controls. It is unfair to suggest you have a method of making rent controls work in the city, because if you do, the whole world would like to hear it, because it's never worked anywhere ever in the history of mankind. I beg you to support our amendment.
They just said it doesn't work.
I know.
Saying it doesn't.
Thank you. Thank you. Assembly Member Hirani, please.
Thank you, Chair. So what we have in front of us here today from the Mayor's budget is a budget that ensures investment to tackle crime and the causes of crime, investment to build more homes for Londoners, supporting tenants and also reducing street homelessness, and investing to improve our transport network with more step-free stations and an expansion in the Superloop across our city, keeping London as a world leader on tackling air pollution and the climate crisis, and also looking to the future of our city by investing in skills and allocates extra funding to address the impact of AI in London, as well as supporting tourism in our capital and our high streets and the hospitality sector. It bears down on crime by keeping Londoners safe, and it is a top priority. I will just address one of the issues raised by the Green Party around the focus on tackling crime. The Mayor has been and shown that he has led on also looking at prevention and investing in prevention as well by introducing the Violence Reduction Unit. So it's not a case of tackling crime and enforcement versus investing in the causes of crime, but for us in the Labour Group, it's a matter of both, which is what our Mayor continues to do, and also the extra money to look at the crimes that have been going up in recent years, namely phone theft, and allocating extra funding to crack down on phone theft, which we know is an issue for Londoners. The Mayor has more than doubled investment in policing from City Hall to help tackle crime, and in total he plans to invest a record-breaking £1.26 billion in policing, while on the other hand we saw that real-term funding cut from when we were under coalition rule from 2010 to 2024, with record numbers of funding coming away in the form of the Home Office grant to London's policing. And the Mayor now looking at how the budget is funded for policing, the Mayor funds around a quarter versus three-quarters from government, which is significantly more than it has been in the past. And in addition, we've also heard about the work that's happening to increase money coming in still from the Home Office for extra additional policing grants as well, which continues, and also the £50 million that is there in this version of the budget compared to the previous draft that we saw on supporting young Londoners as well. On housing, the Mayor has also looked to invest on supporting renters, which is clearly something that is in the budget. £3 million allocated in funding, and that's an increase to support renters in our capital, but also more council homes under this Mayor. Record numbers completed than in any point since the 1930s. And just this week, I was in Wembley for the topping out ceremony for Zephaniah House, which is 54 new homes, 100% affordable, that people in our in the area that I represent will benefit from as well. But a real-life example of homes being delivered for Londoners. More money for tackling street homelessness as well, which we alluded to earlier on as well. And on transport, as I said, new rolling stock for the Piccadilly line, looking at investment in the Bakerloo line, and also making more stations step-free, as well as investment to keep the momentum on the West London orbital going. It tackles the cost of living head-on by continuing the investment of the Mayor's landmark policy on universal free school meals, but also freezes bus and tram fares as well, keeping that promise on looking at the cost of living for Londoners. So I will, obviously, with my group, be supporting the Mayor's budget. Looking at the amendments, we're not in a position to support the other parties' amendments, and we will support the Mayor's budget as is, and we ask all members to make sure that we can deliver on those priorities that the Mayor has laid out. Thank you.
Assembly Member Mahfouz, please.
Thank you, Chair. 10 years of delivering for London. For much of that decade, delivering despite having a Conservative government that worked against London. Delivering the teeth of a Conservative and coalition government that knew only one mantra: cuts, cuts, cuts. So let's be clear, I'm going to take no lessons from Assemblymember Garrett and the Tories today. Not from the party that stripped £1 billion, over £1 billion from the Met Police budget. Not from the party that left office with the British people worse off for the first time in history than when they entered government. And certainly not from those who prioritised their friends during the pandemic whilst Londoners paid the ultimate price. They don't get to lecture us on budgets. Not today, not ever. And less than 2 years ago, this Mayor was re-elected with a stomping majority and on a mandate to build a London that was fairer, safer, greener and more prosperous. And so let's measure him and this budget against those targets. Free school meals now baked in forever, making sure that we are making a massive impact for school children right across our city. And of course, additional funding for holiday, hunger, and that will continue too. Investing in this budget, no mention today from the Tories about the extra £50 million to support our young people. £8 million to tackle rough sleeping as we work to end homelessness in London. An additional £2 million to tackle financial hardship through the cost of living crisis. Continue to invest in step-free access at stations like Northolt in my patch, making our city more inclusive. And yes, reinvigorating home building and introducing, indeed, rent-controlled properties in our city for the first time, dealing with the biggest challenge that Londoners are facing right now. We're making it safer. More extra money in 1 year under a Labour government than under 14 years cumulatively under the Tories and Lib Dems. Funding to tackle... we've got more than double the contribution from the Mayor's budget, whilst the Tories are proposing not to take the extra funding that is currently being on the table through the Mayor's policing precept. With their amendment, they wouldn't take it. £4.5 million to tackle mobile phone theft, £29 million to take action against violence against women and girls, introducing new town centre safer neighbourhood teams, as I've seen in my own patch in Ealing Broadway, funding to support the victims of child exploitation, homicides at record lows, and number of young people killed in our streets lowest levels in over a decade. And greener. We've got the Green Routes Fund. We've got the Green Finance Fund. We've got the new Swimmable London Fund. We've got the Warmer Homes London Fund, which will support the retrofit and making sure that people pay less in their bills, as well as being better for the environment. We've got funding for clean energy and clean air filters at schools to go further than the achievements we've already achieved on ULEZ, and so much more. And of course, on more prosperous. Fresh off the data that's showing positive movement on the national economy for the first time in far too long. We have got a London growth plan that's coming. We've got progressive plans to deliver the West London orbital. And £20 million to support dealing with the consequences of AI. £20 million to draw in major events for our city. £10 million to support business growth as a replacement for previously European-funded work, which we'd lost thanks to the Tories and Reform and others telling us that we should have got rid of those funds by going with Brexit. £8 million to increase investment in our tourism. £5 million to support our high streets and our hospitality sector, all building on the work that's already delivered over 65,000 jobs in London, attracted 1,700 events, and added over £3.3 billion to London's economy over the past decade. So, Chair, this is a budget that isn't just numbers on spreadsheets, but delivers on the promise Sadiq made to Londoners and the London promise itself. If you work hard and get a helping hand, you can achieve anything. So this budget is that helping hand for young people, for our neighbours and businesses, for every single Londoner, and that is why I will be voting for this budget today. Thank you.
Assembly Member Baker, please.
Thanks, Chair. As you've heard from Assembly Member Hirani, we absolutely back this budget and don't support the amendments. But I'm going to make a few points on some transport matters because there are some really important issues that have been raised here, but we don't back the solutions that are coming forward. Firstly, on the Greens amendment, Assembly Member Russell on APTAL. Obviously, we've had the discussion before. We 100% acknowledge the huge importance of embedding accessibility in transport planning, but I previously raised the question of whether this was at a cost of £500,000. So those concerns stand as a part of that amendment. Then turning to the reform amendment, Assembly Member Prince on toilets for bus drivers. I mean,